Most big companies have teams of people constantly working to promote their products. One of the ways they do that is to have a distinct logo or symbol that is instantly recognizable and desirable. Over the years, many of these companies have changed or modernized their logo or symbol in an attempt to appeal to an ever-changing world. The cross is one of the most instantly recognizable symbols in the world. It has been the recognized symbol of Christianity throughout the world since around the 2nd century. Well, in some ways, that's a surprising symbol because it is a symbol of execution. By its very nature as a symbol of death, and the death of criminals at that, the Bible recognizes that the cross is an offense. It is a stumbling block. It is a sign of foolishness and weakness to many. And yet, for those who are followers of Jesus Christ, the cross continues to be the most powerful symbol of our faith. Not because of sentimentality, but because of what it represents. As Paul says in 1 Corinthians 1:18, "For the message of the cross is foolishness to those who are perishing, but to us who are being saved, it is the power of God." Well, the cross does continue to be scorned by many in our time, as it has always been. But those who trust the Bible as God's revelation of his character and his ways understand that the cross is the very centre, the heart of what we believe about God the Father and about Jesus as our Saviour and about ourselves as sinners who are loved by God. When we speak about the cross, it's essential that our understanding is biblical, not based on unhelpful sentimentality or even superstition that sometimes creeps in. Thankfully, we're not left to guesswork in our understanding of what the cross means. The sheer space given over to an understanding of the cross by both the Gospel writers and the New Testament epistles lets us know of its central importance. But today, I want to go a bit further back in the story. Apart from the birth stories and Jesus' very, very early days, we know practically nothing of Jesus' life until his baptism by John in the Jordan, and then being led by the Spirit into the desert to be tempted by the devil. One very important exception to that is an incident that happened when Jesus was 12 years old. Now, this story isn't just a random story to fill in a gap between his babyhood and adulthood, but it is a very significant insight into his developing understanding of the purpose of God for his life here on this earth. Jesus had made the yearly trip to Jerusalem with his family for the Passover, probably in the midst of a big crowd of extended family and friends. After the Passover, they were returning home to Nazareth. Well, now that was a journey of about 64 miles, so they certainly weren't doing it in one day. But at the end of the first day, Jesus was discovered to be missing. He couldn't be found among the group of family and friends. You can imagine the fear, the panic among Joseph and Mary and the rest of the family. And Joseph and Mary hurried back to Jerusalem to try and find Jesus. The city would still have been crowded with pilgrims from all over the world there for the Passover. And after 3 days of frantic searching, they eventually found him. Where was he? He was there in the temple courts, sitting with the teachers of the law, listening to them and asking them questions. The teachers and others listening were amazed at his understanding, at his answers. His parents were astonished too when they saw him, but their astonishment was mixed with, relief and a little bit of annoyance. Mary said to him, "Son, why have you treated us like this? Your father and I have been anxiously searching for you." Jesus' simple reply was this: "Why were you searching for me? Didn't you know I had to be in my Father's house?" That simple question that Jesus asked his mother, "Didn't you know that I had to be in my Father's house?" demonstrates that as early as 12 years of age, Jesus was calling God his Father. He would later be charged with blasphemy for making this very claim, calling God his Father, and that he had an inward compulsion and desire. He had to be concerned with his Father's business. We can't say more than the biblical text says, but we can detect at this very early stage that Jesus was aware of God being his Father, and that God had sent him into this world for a purpose and a mission. You will know that much later, Jesus taught his disciples to pray. And how did that prayer start? You know it as the Lord's Prayer. Our Father. You know, it was unheard of to call God Father. Jesus Christ came into this world, so that you and me, sinners, cut off from God, would be able to say to God in heaven, "Our Father," to know him as our Father, to be his children. Jesus came into this world for that very purpose. During this week, we will find out more about this purpose and about Jesus' understanding of his mission to go to the cross so that you and I could say to God, "Our Father."